I think my spiritual practice has moved into a phase of looking for meaning more than I'm looking for truth. And I think that was something that I really struggled when I was transitioning out of an old paradigm into being heathen.
Mm.
I sort of took a lot of the same things I learned as being raised as a fundamentalist Christian into my heathen practice. And so I kind of look at that early time as kind of this liminal space, right? Like it's kind of not quite out of one thing and not quite this new thing, but somewhere in the middle, and kind of finding my own truth and what speaks to me versus things that I've been taught are true or taught that I had to believe in some certain way.
Yeah.
And I think for me, like that helps just keep me moving forward on my practice because I don't have to waste time with doubts as much anymore because that thing being like big T truth doesn't really matter to me as much anymore. I don't really feel this need and this pressure to um fully understand everything. I'm able to actually just walk my path knowing that what I'm doing is enriching my life and bringing fulfillment.
Yeah. Do you think that that like you say the big T truth, right? These and I think that comes from this indoctrination modality that we find across fundamental religions or big religions. I mean, Christianity, Islam, even Judaism, for instance, has some of these really like everybody has this book of instructions that you're supposed to follow, and that is the big truth, right? Their truth, whatever religion you're a part of, like that's it, and
Mm.
everything else is wrong. You've got to follow this thing. Does that seem a bit limiting? As you've kind of advanced and grown in your path, and now you're finding, it's more important to find meaning than truth. Do you think that this this idea of this big truth is more limiting than it is freeing?
I think it's super limiting. And one of the interesting things that I've seen as I've grown in my development of my own heathen worldview is becoming more of a pluralist. So things don't necessarily need to be antagonistic all the time, and someone can have a very meaningful religious experience that looks very different than mine. And as long as there's mutual respect and mutual understanding, we can have frith and we can connect on a certain level because there's boundaries in place. There's not a push and pull. There's not a need to dim someone else's light because it's threatening to you. You find it beautiful that that's meaningful to them
Mm.
because it's over here in their sphere and it's enriching their life, and they're not putting that on anyone else. They're not
Yeah.
pushing a narrative of conformity and needing everything to be homogenous all the time. There's a lot more room for diversity of expression, diversity of paths, diversity of gods, even amongst polytheists of various traditions. There can be some tension there, I think, sometimes because we
Oh,
want to
dude.
hold on to that limitation. Somehow it brings us comfort, I think.